Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Call to order the regular meeting of the Rio Dell City Council. Roll call, please.
Mayor Garnes,
Excused.
Mayor Pro Tem Carter,
Here.
Councilmember Orr,
Here.
Councilmember Wilson,
Here.
Councilmember Woodall.
Excused. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public presentations. This time is for persons who wish to address the council on any matter not on this agenda and over which the council has jurisdiction. As such, a dialogue with the council or staff is not allowed under the Ralph N. Brown Act. Items requiring council action that are not listed on this agenda may be placed on the next regular agenda for consideration if the council directs, unless at least 2/3 of the council make a finding that the item came up after the agenda was posted and was urgent, requiring immediate action. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Do we have any public comment? Please come up. And will you give us your name and...
Wally Capini, member of the chamber. And I'm here this evening because as a chamber member, we're always looking for ways to bring people into the community. And I've been eyeballing property across the bridge on the south side for potential billboard location. So I was wondering if that could be on the agenda at some point, maybe in the future. That if we have permission, then we could go down the road and pursue funding for that project.
Do we want to see a potential billboard on a future agenda?
Okay,
I didn't hear my
Yeah.
So it would be the property on the south side of the freeway across from the industrial park. I believe that's the sewer part. To me, it would be a great location for the city of Rio Dell to have a billboard there. And we're willing to try to pursue some financial for that project, but without the city approval, I wouldn't approach any funding until we got approval from the city. So I'm wondering if that could be on the agenda at some point.
Is this for the chamber to have a billboard?
It would be chamber, I guess, city chamber. However, I just think it would be another way to identify Rio Dell and hopefully get people to stop and come through the town. If the location is there, the city location, so it's just a matter, I think, of getting funding. Probably, I had talked to Caltrans a little bit about it, and I was told it was private property, but if I was to pursue it further, I'd definitely talk to Caltrans about that. But it's a city property, so that's why I'm starting here. I have talked to someone about some financial, and it's been brought up at the chamber meetings.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it, Joey.
Councilmember Orr, you okay with that? I'm also okay with putting that on a future agenda, just to look at what the process would be, hear your ideas from the chamber perspective of what you think should be there, where the funding could come from.
Yeah.
And then on our end, kind of look at what would be involved in zoning and permitting and things like that.
Good.
Okay, so if we all agree, let's go ahead and put that maybe on a future agenda where it fits, and then we'll let you know.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Wally, for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do we have other public comment in the room? Okay, do we have any hands raised? Any emails? Okay. Moving on to the consent calendar, that starts on page 1 of our packets. Is there any council member who wishes to remove something from the consent calendar? No? Is there any member of the public or staff who wishes to remove something from the consent calendar? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So,
Do I have a second?
second.
Please vote. My buttons are reversed too.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Motion carries 3-0. All right, moving on to reports of staff communications. That's page 18 in our packet, and I'll hand it over to city manager.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Carter and members of the council. So we have upcoming a Halloween event in Rio Dell, which will also include Rio Dell's first annual canine costume contest. All of this is presented from the Neighborhood's Barber Shop and Emerald Z Gift Shop and Game Room. And there will be early ghost trick or treats and canine costume contests on October 31st, starting at 1:30 p.m. to 3:15 p.m. The dogs need to be signed in by 3:30 p.m. that day, and then a dog contest will start at 3:30 and go till 5 o'clock. For this year's events. And then on top of that, there will also be the annual trunk or treat, which I believe starts at about 5:30. Also on October 31st, something to put on the calendar. And then the city has also hired Mr. Marshall Moore for the position of wastewater superintendent. So you'll see Mr. Moore here across the room. And we want to just welcome Marshall to Rio Dell. With that, if there's any questions or comments from the council, we're happy to try to answer.
Thank you, city manager. Do we have council questions on the staff report?
Just a quick, you give us Mr. Moore, would you give us a brief summary of where you're from?
Born and raised Humboldt County. Spent about 7 years in the Army as a Ranger, and the rest of my time in the airborne battalions between the 4th Brigade 25th and the 1st Brigade 82nd. I fell into wastewater operating. Basically, a stroke of luck got me into it. Then I was working in with the Redway Community Service District for the past roughly 4 years, from being an OIT, and for the last year I was the acting chief plant operator, and I'm here now, and I like what the future is looking like for me and for working here with the city.
Good to have a good board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for that. We look forward to getting to know you and working with you. Thanks for being here. Councilman report, any questions?
No, just welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. I always have questions and comments. So I am wondering if Chief Finney would fill us in a little bit about his appointment to the California Police Chiefs Association and tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you. Yes, I recently applied for and got selected to be the Region 1 representative for the California Police Chiefs Association that represents Humboldt, Del Norte, and Trinity counties. And what that basically entails is not only welcoming new appointments to the chief ranks, the sheriff ranks, but also carrying forward issues confronting our counties to the state level, where the board of directors for the California Police Chiefs Association advocates for the local jurisdictions and brings issues forward, opposes or supports local law bills, stuff like that at the state level. I look forward to taking our issues to the state level from a little more active stance from now on.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you for putting yourself out there at the state level to kind of get. We have important things to say too. We're a tiny, small town, and people forget we're here. So I appreciate that, and thank you for doing that and for giving us a little bit of a rundown of what that means. Lastly, we had 0 animals taken to Miranda's 4 critters without litters, and that is that's a good deal. I think our animal control issues are on the up and up. So I'm happy to see that. Other than that, I have no questions or further comments. Members of the public, questions or comments on the staff report? Okay, hands raised. Emails. Okay. Moving on to special call items, community affairs and public hearings. We are talking about the Beta Street Park acquisition, page 23 in our packets. I will pick that first to our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Carter. So Mr. Caldwell is not available at the moment. So I will wing this presentation. At this point in time, staff is just recommending a postponing of the expenditure of local funds for key acquisition, specifically the title work and record of survey until after an official announcement for a land and water conservation grant award, which we are anticipating potentially sometime in February 2026. We don't know particularly whether that grant will be successful or not. Current estimates on the defining of the doing the title reports is around $3,000. And then previously, when we've had similar work done, particularly on this site, the bill for this has been around $4,500. And so the city did conduct a similar survey back in, I believe, actually it was 2014 for this a similar location. However, since then, a large solar field has been erected in part of the location, so that the boundaries would have to be adjusted and the work conducted over again. And so we are looking at what the school district wants to do in terms of layouts for the property, potential property acquisition for the city. My understanding is that there have been a couple of different conversations regarding the exact area. There is a fairly large map printed out in your agenda packet. And really the definition of what spaces the school district at this point in time would be willing to sell or not sell is also not clear. So I think with a little bit more time, we're not going to really lose anything in terms of lost time in moving a particular project forward, but we'll just have better information. And then there are some details related to the grant that before the council accepts the grant, we will want to make sure that the council is fully apprised of some of the limitations associated with what the land can be used for in the future. And then also that it would be a 50% match, so the city would have to provide approximately 50% of the cost of the acquisition of these properties. It should also just be noted that most of these, virtually all of these facilities are potentially liabilities that require significant amount of investment, everything from the parking lot to the dugouts to the tennis court itself are all in need of various work, some of it ADA related or whatnot. That's before you even get to additional amenities. What also complicates this particular project is that the way that the state goes out park grants in the state of California generally is that they use a mapping tool in that if you're within a certain distance of a pre-existing park, which this would be, so not only Fireman's Park, but also Memorial Park, can put this particular site at a disadvantage in terms of securing future grants. It's not to say that it's impossible, but it is difficult. So I think Eureka's had significant issues with securing grants for Hammond Park over by the Fort Humboldt State Park. Even though that is a state park and provides completely different amenities, they have indicated in the past that that has been a major sticking point for getting improvements. grant funded for that particular part in the city of Eureka. So with that, our staff's recommendation just at this point in time is also to receive an update from the mayor pro tem on the status, and then to just postpone this work until approximately February of 26, which will be here in no time. And then see if there is public comment on this particular issue.
Well, if nobody minds, I'm gonna go ahead and talk because I'm the one that asked to put this on the agenda. So my original request was to just change the lot lines now. I understand at this point, after talking around City Hall, why that maybe isn't the greatest idea. And so I'm okay with that. My main concern with the lot line change is that I didn't want to come to the school and say, you owe us a bunch of money for this, especially if we can get funding from any potential grant we receive to cover the cost of the title adjustment. I'd rather do that than give the school a bill. So I'm okay to table the lot line adjustments for now. Referring to your map, I did, since this came out, went ahead and touched base with the superintendent and asked about the straight line that cuts the ball field in half versus the other red line that goes all the way around the whole ball field. It was her opinion that they just kind of made a straight line because it's easier to draw, and that they would be open to giving us that, or, you know, including that extra little area that's now shaded green. This item is agendized for their meeting tomorrow night, so I'm going to go and ask them, you know, where they stand on including that little bit of extra land there, because I do agree that it would be much better to have that little bit of extra, and we could just do more things. I am, of course, as everybody knows, very committed to this project. I think that it would be a wonderful thing for the city. I think it's a great location for a park. I know that we have Fireman's Park. And we all know that's aimed at like slightly younger kids. I think this would be a great location to aim at more middle school, even high school, teenage children. I guess that really is my update on this. I also want to point out that I know that there's been a lot of back and forth before my time, before a lot of our times, about the Davis Street Park. There's a totally different board down there now. They're very supportive. They're very cooperative. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a negative situation down there or something where they really don't want to do this. I think they really do, and I think that straight line across the baseball field was just a fluke more than it was an intentional. You know, give us less land. So I'm going to be at that meeting tomorrow night, and because it's agendized, I'm allowed to talk and ask them to go ahead and you know, adjust this little area here. So that's where we stand on that. Question. Yeah.
On the part that's excluded, I'm trying to get my mind straight that the ballpark, that's the current ballpark, green part is the current outfield. And so, I mean, that, if you take the outfield away from you just basically have to diamond the ballpark there. Am I on the right page, really?
Yeah. Now, again, when I spoke to the superintendent, it was, and I've talked around to a couple of people. They just kind of drew a straight line because it was easier than drawing a curved line, you know. So I don't think that this is an intentional. We really want this little extra shaded piece to stay ours. I think that they just arbitrarily drew a straight line.
Well, does the outfield go up farther where it's brown? Is that more of the outfield too?
I don't think so, no.
You just
Yeah.
it seems like I remember the tree.
I think this would just encompass the whole ball field to Davis Street is what my goal is anyway.
Because otherwise you really just get into doing a tennis.
Right. And I think that extra acreage would be much better.
And we got time because we got to talk.
Right.
We're going to talk about it and be good versions for the update.
Yeah, and I will have an update for you on where they will stand with the lot lines. I just am really want this. So I wanted to. Okay.
I'm proud too. I would like to kind of look accountable, but that didn't work out. So,
Yeah.
Okay, whatever it is, you'll bring some,
I'll bring you an update. Yep.
we're not doing, so that's.
Okay. Councilmember Orr, questions, comments?
Any questions?
Members of the public, staff, questions, comments on Davis Street Park acquisition. Is this a voting situation or do we just let it ride? Motion to accept the staff recommendation.
Yeah, I would just, motion to, continue the item until February 2026.
Okay, do I have a motion to continue this item until February of 2026 or whenever we hear about this grant?
So
Motion and a second.
Right.
All, please vote. Oh, it's getting me again. Okay, the motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Our next item is explanation of water and sewer rate structure, page 27 in our packet. And once again, I will kick this to our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Carter. I will go ahead and hand this over to our finance director, Mr. Travis Sand.
Thank you, City Manager. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Carter and members of the council. Tonight, I'm providing an overview of our water and sewer rate structure, how it's established, and how it works based on public comment and your council direction. We're asking the council to acknowledge the comprehensive rate study process, reaffirm the cost of service methodology we established in 2022, and note that our sewer rate classification appropriately reflects actual treatment costs. In 2022, we completed a comprehensive 5-year rate study through the consulting firm Fleckwitz and Sang. We followed full Prop 218 requirements, mailed notices to all property owners and tenants, held public hearings, and received protest ballots well below the threshold needed to stop the rates. The council adopted these rates through separate resolutions for water and sewer, which are included in this agenda item. I want to directly address public comments we've received about grants. The city is actively pursuing and implementing grant-funded infrastructure improvements. We're currently in the construction phase of an over $12 million water infrastructure project. Our wastewater system is in the midst of a $1.6 million sanitary sewer evaluation study. These efforts demonstrate the city is doing everything possible to secure outside funding to minimize the burden on ratepayers while improving and maintaining our systems. Water rates have two components: a fixed base charge and a consumption charge based on actual water use. Sewer rates also have a fixed charge plus a volume charge that varies by strength classification. This is based on treatment costs. A car wash just discharges clean, low-strength wastewater. A restaurant discharges high-strength wastewater with grease and food waste that requires significant more treatment and higher costs. We have 4 strength rating categories between these examples. This cost of service approach follows State Water Resource Control Board guidelines and ensures businesses pay for actual treatment for their discharge requires. This is not a one-size-fits-all approach. Sewer volume charges are based on winter water usage, a December through February average. This is important because it excludes summer irrigation that does not enter the sewer system, ensuring customers only pay sewer charges for water that fully becomes wastewater. Residential use is capped for fairness. We also have leak adjustment provisions built in to protect customers from unfair charges. These rates fund our operations, debt service, reserves, and capital projects. We review each utility's financial standing annually before implementing any scheduled increases, providing ongoing oversight. This concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Thank you, city manager and finance director. Questions or comments from the council?
We're gonna do public comment and come back.
Yeah.
Good, I understand how the system works. I don't know. I just think that.
Okay. Councilmember Hobart, questions or comments before we take public? Okay, public comment regarding water and sewer rate structure. Anybody? Hands raised? Emails? Here we are.
Well, I guess last time we had a discussion, there was an issue about the charging process. That the individual that spoke, the brought us about was getting a large charge. Is that individual here? Because I think I talked to him afterwards, he said he's paying $700 water and sewer, but it was primarily based on the sewer. Yeah, so that just seemed like an awfully high sewer on a regular basis. And yeah, if he's not here to explain it, then I guess that's his problem. He's here enough to come out and talk to council, and guess you have to do with what you got, so. I'll do that. Or, exactly.
The only comment I have is that I know we've long had a reputation of like the highest water bill anywhere, but I think that is actively changing. On the comparison we heard last time was, Fortuna's cheaper, but theirs is going up. When I look at ours, a 3% increase, a 2% increase, a 5% increase. What they're doing in Fortuna is 20%, 20%, 15%, 15%. So I think, and you all know this, I want it out there that we're not the only ones, that are gonna have expensive water and sewer here pretty soon. I think we're gonna be pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I don't know the guards. I don't know what's going on, Fortune, honestly, what's going on there, but ours, I think, has been, straightened out. The only one area where I really had the problem was how we averaged, this December, January, February. It can be, to me, it was cumbersome to the new, to like the new tenant, or to the new person that would do, renter, somebody, because you started out with 5, because the average 5 units to take on average, and it could take anywhere from 8 months to 18 months to establish that average function. The way this thing goes, you study it, so you know it's a personality is kind of a service, but until we want to address that at a different time. Once you become an established user, you get through the first year, depending where you come in at. And I noticed it talks about how some of the dates sync up. And this might be a deal when we do a study that we ask the next time we do the study that we ask the rate payer and stuff would address some of these issues. Well, that will, but my question on what we had a study, we asked some more questions at that time. But right now, I think it's really being there to be clear what we have, and it's a nice record someone can go to online and find a really comprehensive report, which I appreciate the job that you did. So there is explanation with history attached to it, and that's good for anybody, I guess, who's listening that cares. But if you want us to care, I'll just make this. The simple statement is, if you care enough about the issues, then you would be in this room right here. This is publicly noticed, brought out. So I kind of lean to the idea that everybody's happy with it, or there'd be somebody down there, at least the person that brought it up. So thank you for your work in bringing this to this one.
Yes, thank you. Do we need a motion, or is this discussion and possible action? Do we need a motion to reaffirm the cost of service methodology?
You can, or you can re-accept the report.
Okay, it sounds to me like we accept the report.
Yeah.
With motion to that.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the report on the water sewer rates?
I make a motion we accept staff report.
We have a motion, we have a second. Second, all right. Let's vote. I keep doing this. Okay, motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Moving on to our next item, which is cannabis cultivation tax rate analysis, page 87 in our packet. I will once again kick that to the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Carter. Members of the council will go ahead and turn this over to Travis Sample, our finance director.
Thank you, City Manager. Good evening again, Mayor Pro Tem Carter and members of the council. I'm here tonight now to discuss our cannabis cultivation tax based on a public comment and council direction. Staff recommends maintaining our current rate of $2 per square foot. Our voters authorized this tax twice, first with Measure T in 2016, then overwhelmingly with Measure X in 2017, with nearly 81% of the vote of approval. They authorized us to tax up to $5 per square foot. We currently operate at just 40% of that maximum. And this rate has remained unchanged for over 6 years. Cannabis taxes generate on average $258,000 annually when taking an average of the last 5 years. That's roughly 14.5% of our general fund revenue. This revenue directly funds critical services, including road maintenance and our police department operations. Dropping this tax to just $1.50 per square foot loses approximately $64,500 annually. Dropping it to $1 loses up to $129,000 predicted. That equals a little over $645,000 over the course of 5 years. And these aren't abstract numbers. This is funding that directly pays, like I said, for street repairs and police services in a time when our sales tax have decreased 55% since fiscal year 2021. Humboldt County has suspended 100% of their cannabis taxes for 2025. They have 765 permits, owing $17 million in back taxes. Sonoma County just implemented emergency tax rate cuts. And another city in California, Desert Hot Springs, reduced their rate by 44%. Rio Dell's different. Rio Dell maintains collection while listing hardship relief mechanisms for flexibility for operators who need temporary assistance. Our rate is competitive, it generates reliable revenue, and honors the strong odor mandate. Rate reductions would require service cuts and contradict what 81% of the voters authorize. This concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Travis. Questions or comments from the council?
Yes.
Yeah, I look at you.
You know, I can't go without.
Yeah.
Saying. First of all, thank you for it's a really good report for the history again. What Major X and Major P. We went through an awful, this thing that doesn't celebrate the ones that are part of this. So we went through what I refer to as the marijuana one in this city. This is probably all involved, that part of it here. And a healthy 4 months, this room was packed every Tuesday, not every first and third Tuesday, but every Tuesday. We had people out the door, do all of the conference. All this went through it before the state passed theirs and then they divided all the stuff to bring it to it. So I think it was pretty well vetted what we were doing. And when I talked to the people about the tax rate part of it, a lot of them were reading for the advisory. Well, a lot of the people wanted it for the idea of being a tax revenue. There was several that I talked to that were against it, and the whole idea of the bad things against you're supposed to use the cannabis term, but they really wanted to get revenue for the city, and the city, and that's what, and it reflects that in the vote. The money that was brought in, and we were in a better time industry at that time. We took money in and we did a good, I think the city did a really excellent job handling that money and worked on our streets. And as if you look at the HCOG report that came out, Rio Dell had one of the better city streets, where we had one of the worst set of streets prior to that, roughly 5 years, so we put the money to that. We went through a process where people weren't paying their taxes, and we were gonna, well, it was gonna come before the council on lowering that rate. And as they looked into the rate, there's a proviso in there that that they can make a decision. I believe it's Kevin's policy, so it's the manager that make the decision that they can give tax relief in a hardship. So that was never put on the actually affected in the agenda that we actually had a meeting. Yeah, so my current feeling is people that come to the city, I don't believe any of the original owners are still up there, particularly on Dinsmore. A lot of them have not materialized across the river. And people that got involved in this industry certainly knew what they were getting into. If they didn't, well, that's their problem that they didn't investigate this industry. They knew what they were getting into when they came here. They knew what our tax rate was. And therefore, I concur with staff that the rate is fine. I think it's a reasonable rate. And that's my stand on the discussion. I don't get discussion and for this.
Thank you, Councilmember Wilson. Councilmember Moore, questions or comments?
I can't help but wonder if the reduction in sales tax is due to the reduction of the people that we have providing products and spending here because we're driving them out of business. I don't see, I mean, anybody who got into the legalized business had to have seen this coming because it's happened with so many other businesses, but we're forecasting 5-year losses, 2-year losses, and all of them. I don't understand why we can't have a temporary reduced tax rate to keep these people where they're at, to keep the growers where they're at, and keep the product selling wherever it sells, so that we can keep some money. Because right now, we're going to end up with a bunch of empty fields that are overpriced and mortgaged to the hilt, and nobody doing anything on them, and even less sales tax in the city. So I think there's got to be something else that we can do.
Thank you, Councilmember Orr. My thoughts are pretty simple. I think that the voters passed this, and I represent the voters. So I'm more inclined to maintain the current tax rate. That's where I'm at. Public comment? Hands raised? Emails, okay. So I guess I'm looking for a motion to maintain the current cannabis cultivation tax rate at $2 per square foot and accept the staff recommendation.
Technically, it requires no action on the part of the council. So if the council concurs, you can move on to the next agenda.
Are we okay moving on to the next agenda item? Okay. Discussion on drainage issues at and around 590 View Avenue, page 92 in our packets. I will hand it back to the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor Carter and members of the council. So at your last regularly scheduled city council meeting on September 16th, 2025, the Rio Dell City Council requested that a drainage issue near and around 590 View Street be agendized for discussion. So sometime, just a little bit of the background that we've been able to pull out for this particular location. But between 1940 and 1956, the house at 590 View Avenue was built. This construction was prior to the incorporation of the city of Rio Dell, which occurred in February of 1965. So at the time, the house was the only building located on the east side of View Avenue. Over the years and decades, there were 3 additional homes built on the east side of View. The most recent being 2 homes that are the closest to 590 View, again, on the east side. So these 2 homes were constructed via a lot line adjustment, in this case, turning 1 parcel into 2. And this occurred in 1983. So this lot line adjustment was approved by the city subject to terms and conditions. The city currently does not have any records regarding the details of these terms and conditions, but we have requested some stored materials be retrieved from our deep storage that may or may not contain additional information on that particular lot split. However, a common condition of lot line adjustments or subdivisions is the required creation of sidewalks. And the sidewalks of the neighboring properties appear to have been constructed in 1983 at the same time as the new homes were constructed. So according to the city clerk, the city has no records or memory of complaints related to drainage at 590 View until within approximately the last 5 or so years. It's also important to note that the sidewalks would not have been constructed by the city itself. Instead, they would have been built by the property owner or contractor conducting the housing construction at the adjacent properties, again, most likely as part of a requirement for the subdivision to proceed. So resolutions of these kinds of issues can be complex, and the council is not a stranger to these types of issues. They involve complex issues of liability for permit plan approval, defect disclosure laws, assignment of maintenance responsibilities, and possible deferred improvement agreements. And so while the city is sympathetic to the situation, the city attorney's preliminary opinion on the issue is that the city has no obligation to fix this particular issue. If the council wishes to pursue this item further, it is recommended that the item be referred to the city attorney for further information exploration of the topic. And this action would be consistent with prior action on contentious or complex drainage issues in the past. With that, I'll be happy to try to answer questions and maybe turn back to the mayor.
Okay, thank you, city manager. I'll start with the council first. Council member Orr, do you have questions and comments? Thank you, Councilmember Wilson. Questions or comments?
Just a comment, and that's part of it, original, particularly with these older homes that were prior to the city construction or city designation. One thing that I will comment on and appreciate staff doing this is when people come to this before the city and they have the council ask, they have these things brought on the council agenda that we do that, and so that because we don't have a lot of people participating in our city council meetings, that when they do come, then I feel like I believe we need to give them the opportunity to hear the city do their due diligence, which we've done here, and we looked into this, and I know all the council members like looked at it. And so to show that we are aware, it's just not ignoring our citizens when they do make the effort to come and ask for a decision. But to ask the city to go back and try to fix particularly drainage issues, that could turn into a lot of money real quick. We had stuff on First and Second Avenue, we did stuff on Bellevue. Without there with the gentleman out there with me, flooded in your name, flooded in different ones that happened. And so, with that in mind, I really support and thank the city staff, Brittany, and all the folks that are going to attend to this, and at least make it clear where the city is and why it is and why it can't do, it can't do. That's all I have.
Thank you. At this point, I will turn it over to the public.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Carter and City Council members. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak tonight.
I'm sorry, will you state your name?
Oh, I'm sorry, my name is Laura Berry.
Thank you.
I want to be clear that I'm not here to place blame. I'm here to ask for help. The ongoing drainage problem on View Avenue has reached a point where it's causing serious damage, not to just to our property, but to our neighbors' homes as well. Because of the way the hill slopes and the fact that the curb stops abruptly in front of our home, all the street runoff is directed straight into our yard and our adjoining neighbors' yards. Over time, the water has eroded our property, damaged fencing, and even compromised the foundation of the garage on the house below us at 591 Pacific Avenue. Each winter, we're forced to place sandbags just to try and divert the flow. It's unsightly, a tripping hazard, reduces the overall curb appeal of our street, and it's not a long-term solution. This is not a small matter. The condition of our street and its drainage affect around $1 million in real estate and the long-term health of this neighborhood. We're asking you to take meaningful action, not just acknowledge the issue, but to work with us to find and implement a real solution. Collectively, we've all spent thousands of dollars trying to protect our homes and maintain our property values that contribute directly to the city's economy and reputation as a desirable place to live. We're asking the city to show the same commitment to us that we've shown to our community, as this is clearly a city infrastructure issue. What's frustrating is that the agenda for tonight recommends either referring this matter to the city attorney or taking no action at all. With all due respect, that seems like an unnecessary use of city resources. This problem doesn't need a legal review, it needs a simple fix. All that's required is a small asphalt berm to redirect the flow of water back into the street where it belongs. The city's already performing asphalt work in the area, so this could easily be addressed as part of that effort. Taking action now would prevent further property damage, protect neighborhood safety, and demonstrate the city's commitment to its residents. When a curb abruptly ends and redirects stormwater onto private properties, cities often treat that as a drainage design flaw, and they can and should correct, even if the original curb was built by a contractor long ago. Once the city accepted the street and its drainage as part of the public right-of-way, it assumed responsibility for maintaining it in a way that doesn't cause harm to adjacent private property. In fact, most cities have ordinances or state-level statutes that prohibit directing public runoff onto private land. We've shown our dedication to this community through the pride and care we take in our homes, and we're simply asking the city to do the same. Please take this opportunity to act rather than delay. Thank you for your time and considering a real immediate solution to this problem. Also, I just want to say that in Arcata, right over on Fickle Hill Road, they just redid the road and repaved it with asphalt. And for a house that had the exact same situations as us, all they did was put a small berm going in front of the house, directing the water down to a storm drain. There is a storm drain on the corner of View and Kelly, but because it's actually higher on the road than where the runoff would be, no water physically goes into that drain. All we are asking is for a light berm of asphalt just to go down the length of the front of our house so that the water will redirect it into the city storm drain and just onto the city rather than through free properties homes.
Good evening, Mayor, welcome to City Council. My name is Samuel Berry. I'm at 590 View Avenue. Earlier, it was stated that there was no record since the last 5 years that water was coming into the yard. I was able to get letters from surrounding neighbors and from Dario Primafore, who actually lived at that address since 1961. If I may read this letter that he wrote, it says, to whom it may concern, my name is Dario Primafore. I lived at and owned the property of 590 View, Rio Dell. From 1961 to 2017, the water flooding the yard has been an issue from that time to the present. The water runs off the street, View Avenue, into the front of the yard and down the rest of the yard. I've lived in the neighborhood for 64 years and have seen firsthand what water issues are. If anyone needs to speak to me regarding this matter, feel free to reach me. It has a number here. I also have several copies for you guys to see. And I have letters from neighbors surrounding me and across the street that
across the street, they've witnessed it since 2000 when they moved in, and the neighbor next to me is from 2008 when he moved in. So it's been an issue ongoing for quite some time, and we're not asking for a miracle here. We're just asking for it to be addressed and to give us an opportunity to preserve our home and our property, and to also protect the homes behind us with the drainage coming off. Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comment? Do we have any hands raised? Emails? Okay. I guess as I understand it, we would need, I would, even if all we were gonna do was build a simple asphalt berm, we would still need, I would still want more information and want to talk to the city attorney. If we, there's a lot of other laws and rules and such going on here, and I personally in this moment would not be comfortable just voting to put in an asphalt berm without speaking to the city attorney and figuring out a lot more of the background of this issue. So it would, that part is something that we would likely have to do anyway. It would be within our best interests anyway. I agree, on paper it doesn't look like a great use of city resources, I know, but these are the things that we kind of have to do, even if it's something that seems like a super simple fix. Once you start digging into this stuff, we aren't experts in these things and would need a lot more information. So that's why the choice is do nothing or go to the city attorney. That's why there's not a choice on there, just go out there and do it. It would involve a lot more looking at the rest of the shape of that neighborhood too, because like this picture here has sandbags. Do the sandbags help?
Very big.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, even with light rains, we were having over
Right.
7 inches of water standing in front of the sandbags. And then in the letter that we have copies of from our next door neighbor, Aaron Griffiths, it was actually causing the water then to back up onto his property because the water just pools right there. And it just needs to go to the city storm drain, which is why there's a city storm drain.
And it looks like the whole thing is sloped, like it's not just the sandbag area.
It's the entire.
It's the whole thing, which makes me concerned that we would have to really look at, would an asphalt berm do it? Or would it be the same as the sandbags and it would like help a little bit?
If it directed it all the way,
Sure.
because that's the problem is, we don't want to put sandbags going out into the road.
Into the road, okay.
And because that's a tripping hazard, so
Yeah.
we're just trying to keep it on our side, but if this sandbags, if it was just an asphalt berm, it would
Right.
push the water, because we've had to install drains and we're pumping hundreds of thousands of gallons of water from the street.
I get it, and just so you know, I live at the bottom of town and the whole town slopes right into my house. My whole yard and driveway, everything, it's not directed in my side yard, it's directed straight at my house. And so I get it, I think it's like Councilmember Wilson said, it just, there's a lot of drainage issues around here, you're definitely not alone. And all I'm trying to address right off the bat is the choice between go to the attorney or do nothing at all. That's why it's like that, because there's a lot, it's a lot more complicated. So, if there's no further public comment, I'm gonna bring it back to the council and ask what you guys wanna do. Do you wanna do nothing, or do you wanna go to the attorney?
I move that we send it to the attorney, because, I mean, having no obligation to fix the issue is a far cry from shouldn't fix the issue, because, I mean, it goes beyond the yards up there. You have water pooling in the streets, it becomes a driving hazard, it becomes a health hazard. Yeah, we may have no obligation, but to sit there and say, look, we're hands off, we don't have to do anything about it, is, excuse my French, but a pretty crappy way of running the city. So yeah, I absolutely move that we send it to the attorney to see what we can do.
Thank you. Councilman Wilson.
I was gonna ask, Randy, have you looked at this thing with berm?
We looked at basically the potential of putting a berm there, but then it would become a trip hazard.
What I mean, you're a street guy, have you looked at the idea of putting a berm there to divert the water, or is that been looked at by the city at all?
Not in a professional manner, more just on a one-on-one basis, and more to it, the road would have to be reconstructed to second rain to get the water to run away. It's more than just putting a berm.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
So there's more depth to this as far as road grades, slopes, those kind of things that come in effect to basically make the site correct fix versus a temporary patch. So I think some more in-depth analyzing of the situation, have more information as you guys are requesting, and then figure out how to pay for it or what to do as well.
Okay, so I'm along the lines of Councilmember Moore that, one, I think you need to send it over to our attorney. And two, if they deem that necessary, find out, without spending a bunch of engineering money, getting a preliminary idea of what kind of costs we're looking at for the city. And again, as a city police, it is also the idea if there is a responsibility that we're involved as a city and responsible. I know we have the issue down there and that was out for humanity. We're going to leave the street and we didn't the city to take an action to that extreme. And so I think it needs to pursue that, as you think.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I also, when this does come back, I'm curious how the sanitary sewer evaluation study could potentially affect this in the future.
So not in the photo, you can't see it, but basically the road is higher than the sidewalk.
Yeah.
At this location.
I've seen it.
So that's where the whole regrading of the road will have to come into effect, or sidewalk modifications would need to be made to make this work properly. So it's a little more than just.
It's in there. So it sounds to me like we all kind of agree that we need to kick this to a future meeting, inform ourselves. Yeah, does that sound like, okay. So can I get a motion to refer this to the city attorney for future briefing and then have a look at all these other things and inform ourselves? So moved.
Sorry.
Okay, please vote. I think the motion carries 3-0. Okay, motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Moving on to member reports. Councilmember Orr.
I have nothing.
Wow,
That's so sorry.
you're gonna love those times. Okay. Thank you so much, Councilmember Wilson.
The way that we work, so, because every week, so we have every other, we do this, and we do, we call a committee, and then we do council, and this time they both fall on the person. Well, actually, I guess it was second. We're part of the first and second one. So anyhow, there's two pieces. One, yeah, Thursdays with HWA. It's a pretty light schedule. The RCEA, they did some of the stuff that they did last time about the AI, and it was very informative, but it's not inclusive. Really where that's going. So that's kind of what I am.
Thank you, Councilmember Wilson. As for myself, I'm going to the school board meeting tomorrow to, among other things, follow up on the Davis Street Park lot lines. The fire district or, commissioners are meeting on Thursday at 5:30 p.m. I'll be at that too. Got a really nice card from a Fortuna resident that I would like to read. And it says, when I drive down Wildwood Avenue, I enjoy the green trees and lawns and flowers lining both sides of the street. The route looks well kept and parade ready. Please let the landscapers know that their work is noticed and appreciated. Sincerely, Susan Goff, Fortuna resident. Susan, if you're out there, thank you so much for sending this lovely card. I just wanted to share that from a Fortuna resident who's giving us a compliment. So thank you to city staff and to Julie, wherever she is, for maintaining those flowers. Artwork is continuing on the utility box at this end of town. Please do feel free to drive by and check that out. I'm very happy with what Michaela's been up to. There is a annual river cleanup this Saturday, October 11th. The meeting is usually around 9, just on the other side of the bridge down there, and there's coffee and refreshments and such. And you can usually decide if you want to do the easy part where you walk and pick up, from the nice parts of the river, or if you want to like climb under bridges and really get in there. So all are welcome of all ability levels and ages. So please come on out for that. I went to the Chamber of Commerce meeting yesterday. Christmas decorating, I know it seems really far away, but it's not, is starting November 22nd and 23rd, and will follow into the following weekend just to wrap up any loose ends. Volunteers always appreciated for that too. The tree lighting and Christmas truck parade will be December 6th. That's the first Saturday in December, and it is also the chamber annual meeting. So, and it's fun, cookies and hot cocoa and ornament making and whatnot. So that's cool. Halloween stuff. We are hosting our very first ever Halloween decorating contest. We've done it for Christmas before. We're now trying it for Halloween too. We've got about 11 or 12 entries, and that's pretty good for the first year. Voting goes from October 15th to October 29th. That is either on the Chamber Facebook page or the Chamber website. And some of these houses look really cute. I've driven by them already. Lastly, the new median decorations, if anybody has noticed those, and if you haven't yet, please do go have a look. Once again, we've done it for Christmas before, but now we've got Halloween ones out. Those are constructed entirely by donated materials and donated time through the Community Resource Center. They've got a huge table in the back where they're painting these things. It's a really, really nice, impressive effort that kind of adds something to the city, I think. And then Kyle already announced that Halloween and early trick-or-treating and the dog costume contest and the trunk or treat. So I crossed those off my list. That is it for me. I had enough to make up for everybody else's not having much going on. Okay, if I have a motion to adjourn, I'll see you back here on October 21st.
Sorry.
Motion and a second. Adjourn, thank you.